So welcome back, everybody. This is a really exciting day in the shop here. This is something that I have been wanting for a very long time. Of course, the packaging doesn't do much to keep the secret. So let's go ahead and get into this and see what we've got here. So of course, this is the shop air filtration system. I guess that's what you can call it. Basically what it is, it's a big box filter that hangs in your shop and filters out small particulates of dust and stuff like that when you're out of your wood shop. You got dust floating around all over the place. I had my heart set on the wind unit, but the wind unit, the smaller ones, I would have had to have used 2 of those, and also this unit just went on sale on Black Friday, of course, and it just kind of ended up being a no-brainer to get this one instead. And this one I only have to use 1 of these units, which will be, you know, cut down my complication a little bit. Let me turn this, my camera's in the way. Yeah, this probably gonna have to put this on the floor to get it out. So I'm gonna spare y'all from having to watch me unpackage this thing. So let's get a good look at it. This is, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, obviously. It's just basically a big box that sucks air in and pumps air out. And as the air goes through, it gets filtered. There's 2 different filters in it. There's this filter, the pre-filter, I guess you could call it. It goes right in here. It's very similar to you know, an air conditioning filter that you would put into your house. So it just goes right here. I don't know if you could get these as you know, just a not having to buy the Jet brand, but I will definitely be looking for, you know, for off-brand filters as far as that goes. I don't know if it's necessarily to use this brand of filter. But then there's the internal filter right here. It seems to be a very, it's a lot of extra material on this. It's very loose in here, so I assume what happens is the air gets sucked in. This sucks in with it, and it increases the surface area of the filter, so you get a lot more filtration. And it's actually a really well put together unit. It's made in Taiwan, which is, you know, it is what it is, I guess. I think Grizzly products are made in Taiwan too, but you know, those are high quality products also. You know, it is what it is. What are you going to do about it? So let's get a good look at it. You know, it's a very handsome looking unit. It is very well put together, and it looks nice. It looks really nice. There's a dent right here. I'm sure that happened in shipping, but I'm not real worried about it. It's just a very, very pretty unit. It's well put together. It's solid. It's heavy. I think the shipping weight was like 61 pounds. Here's the control panel over here. You've got your, I guess that's the breaker right there, your on, off, and your low, medium, high speeds. And it's also got a timer with it, which is pretty nice. You can set it to a timed clean, and you can leave. And it'll, you know, as you leave, it'll clean as you go. And it's just a 110 unit. We're gonna wire up a box on the ceiling up here to plug it into, and we're gonna get it hung. So let's go ahead and do that. So before we do that, I wanted to show y'all something that I just discovered, and I'm glad I opened this up because there was a bunch of packaging material in here. But this is the filter, the main filter, and you can see all of the extra material that this thing has on it, and that is gonna give a ton of volume flow through this thing. It's gonna allow a bunch of volume flow through it so it can filter very efficiently. And also, if y'all check this out, this is actually really cool to me. This is, I mean, it's just a giant metal box with a blower motor in it, and you can see the blower motor right here. It's 1/5 of a horsepower, which apparently maximum will give you 1,044 cubic feet per minute, CFM, of airflow on the highest setting. So yeah, I just thought I'd show y'all how simple this thing is built. So before we get too far into this, let's plug it in and just make absolutely sure that it works. It does work. I wonder if the remote works. So that's on the lowest setting. That's the medium setting. And that's the, good grief, that's a lot of air. So yeah, everything works great, and that is a ton of air coming out of that. I can't imagine a circumstance where I would really need that much air. All right, guys, so we got this thing hung up here, and y'all, I mean, I'm not an electrician, so I didn't show y'all my electrical work here, but we got it hung, and this was really a two-person job, but I didn't have two people, so I just did what I could. Gotta have the emblem up, right? Yeah, that's all there is to it. So I'm going to apologize for this terrible camera angle. My camera is, of course, on the floor, and I'm way up here. But I know that there are people out there furiously typing a comment about safety right now, and that's fine. The more I looked at those chains and how that was mounted, the less that I liked it. I mean, all I could see is me and my son or daughter or wife or whoever out here walking around, and this thing just come crashing down, and I mean, it wouldn't have any trouble killing somebody, I'm certain of it. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bolt this thing to these rafters instead, and that's gonna give us a lot more stability in those chains. Those chains were actually only rated for like lights, shop lights, that kind of thing. Now that is solid. So guys, where I'm standing, the unit is actually directly above me, and I feel very confident standing here. Earlier, when I was walking up under it, when it was mounted with those chains, I did not feel good about it at all. It kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies. I'm going to clean this mess up first. Then we're going to cut a couple of pieces of wood, or a few pieces of wood, let the dust settle, see how much settles on the surfaces inside of the shop. And then we're going to do this. We're going to clean up, do the same exact thing, but with this unit on, and see what the difference is. So here's what I think we'll do to test this air filtration unit. This is just the top of my, my toolbox here, and it seems to pick up dust fairly well. The camera seems to do an okay job picking up dust particles that fall on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the belt sander and sand this piece of white oak for 2 minutes, and then we're going to let the dust settle for about half of an hour or so, and then we're going to go over there and we're going to look at the top of that toolbox and see how much dust has settled. Then after that, we'll clean it all up and do the same thing except with the air filtration unit on and see what the difference is. All right, so we're at 202 there, and I'm here to tell you that kicked up a pretty good cloud of dust in this shop. So let's wait about 30 minutes and see what it does to the top of the toolbox. So it's been 30 minutes, and I didn't show you all this, but right around the 13 or so minute mark, I actually was not getting a whole lot of dust on this thing, so I sanded for 2 more minutes, and I actually took some wads of dust, some little small handfuls of dust, and threw it into the exhaust of the belt sander, and that really got a good bit of dust out. I've got this little chip right here just to keep the camera focused, but let's see what we've got here. You can tell, you can see the, well, you can't see it real well, but you can see the dust that's on this worktop right here. See where my finger, there you go. You can see it really well right there. So yeah, quite a bit of dust we have that has fallen. That's from about 4 minutes of sanding, plus taking some dust and kind of throwing it into the exhaust of the belt sander. Let's do the same thing, and this time we're going to put the air filtration unit on medium and see how much dust we get. We'll clean off this this worktop also, of course. All right guys, so we're at the end of the 30 minutes. About 5 or 6 or so minutes into that, I actually turned the filter up to high because there was quite a bit of dust in the air. So let's see what we've got here. You can see there's still some dust there. I don't think it's quite as bad. I'll do like a before and after type thing here in a minute, and y'all will be able to see you know, the difference. And these actually seem to be kind of a little bit of heavier particles. I'm not sure. All right, so I hope that y'all can see this. This right over here was from the first test without the filter on. This right here is when we had the filter running. So you can see the difference in the thicknesses of the dust. On the right side, of course, it's a little bit thicker. Left side, it's not quite as thick. There's still some buildup there, of course, but you know, I noticed that it just wasn't as tough to breathe in the shop with that air filter going. Let's look at the filter. So let's get a look at this filter. This is the inside of the external filter. Just wanted to show you all the proper color of this filter. It comes in that blue. And now let's take a look at the outside of it. See all the dust that it's picked up? Yeah. So it sucked in quite a bit of dust during that. So this is like the product review that never ends here. So I had this entire video completed. I even had it was done, finished, about ready to upload to YouTube. And then I got to thinking about the issues that this thing actually has. And I just wanted to go a little bit deeper, and I looked on Amazon to see the issues that other people were having, and people are having very similar problems that I'm having with this thing. It has a vibration to it, and that vibration, of course, comes from the blower fan. If y'all can see this, the blower fan wobbling. Can y'all see that wobble on that? Yeah, it's not, obviously it's not supposed to be wobbling like that. So it shows up as a vibration when you turn it on. It's not bad, but you know, that's one of those things, it's going to get worse and worse as time goes on. So I looked on Amazon and I saw the issues that other people were having, and one guy said, I just took it apart and I fixed it myself. It was just easier for me. Now I want to be perfectly honest with this review because this is kind of getting into negative territory, unfortunately. But when I was trying to install this up there by myself, I did bump the back of this fan when I dropped it a little bit. It wasn't like a detrimental huge problem, but that doesn't account for the wobble. The wobble was there before that, and it doesn't account for these screws being out of whack as well. If you look at the screws up here, you can see that they're actually screwed in at an angle. And also, I have not gotten a wrench, an Allen wrench, onto these screws yet. And look, I can untighten them, every last one of them, by hand. So there are some fairly serious fit and finish issues with this machine. All right, so I think that I have possibly figured out what the problem is. I was thinking that it was the motor itself or the shaft here itself, and that actually might be part of it. I'm not sure. But a lot of people, or some of the reviews that I saw, said that they were having trouble with the squirrel cage itself, which really seems like the most likely scenario. So I want to show y'all how bad it is. You see that wobble? I mean, that is just absolutely horrendous. So that's going to translate over years and years of use as vibration. Stuff's going to be falling apart, and it may just wreck the motor prematurely as well. So this hole here is 1/2 of an inch, and what I have here is a 1/2 inch drill bit. That's really the only piece of precision metal I could find in the shop here that would fit down in here properly. So what I'm going to do is get it, you know, relatively tight here, screw it in with the set screw right there, and then what I want to do is, you know, if this arbor right here is bent one way or the other, it's going to show up as a variance in measurement between, you know, 4 points right here from the drill bit to the sides. So what we want to do is measure from here to here, which gives us exactly 4. Then we'll measure the opposite side, and that gives us just a hair under 4, about a 32nd of an inch under 4. We'll measure this side, and that's going to give us about a 32nd of an inch under 4. And then we'll measure this side, and I can't see it from that angle, which is going to give us about 4 1/16 or so. So if I'm correct, if I'm correct here, this whole thing needs to be bent just a little bit that way. So let's just do it a little bit, and then we'll see exactly what it needs. See if that, I'm pretty sure that'll break my drill bit. Let me find something different. All right, so we're gonna try this bolt here instead. So what I wanna do here, and I'll be the first to admit I really don't wanna do this, but if it'll fix it, hey, we just wanna try to tweak this over. So I've been working on this for not a whole lot of time, but this is where we are right now. Let me tighten this set screw down, and I'll show you. I think that's as good as it gets. I'll do a little before and after. So let's put this thing back together and see if that helps with the vibration. So guys, that concludes our review of the Jet Shop air filtration system. Ignore this mess. I'm working on this old 65. It's got some carburetor problems, or had some carburetor problems. So what's my final thought on this air filtration unit? I'm kind of unimpressed. You know, the thing about it is it does what it's designed to do. It sucks air in, it filters air in, and it blows clean air out. It makes it to where I can breathe a lot better in the shop. It makes less dust settle on the stuff that's laying around in here. But the fit and finish on it was just really not good, really not good at all. You saw those screws on the top that were the motor mount screws that were actually rammed in there at an angle. The whole thing was actually, every screw hole was actually bent over, and that's why they were at an angle. I was able to straighten them all out. And then of course there was the issue of the fan wobble. I had a whole outro done on this video before I decided to tear this thing apart and fix it. The fan wobble actually created vibration pretty much at every RPM, and since it's mounted to these metal rafters, that vibration traveled through the rafters and it would show up somewhere else in the shop as a rattle somewhere. It wasn't a huge deal, but as far as the longevity of this thing goes, I just don't feel like it can run a whole, I don't think it could live a full life with that kind of a vibration going on. It really spoke to the I guess the amount of time that they spent putting this thing together and packaging it. The packaging was poor. It was a cardboard box with styrofoam inserts around the corners and on the inside of the unit. In order to cushion the blower motor, I think there was about 3 styrofoam cubes about that big, but they really weren't mounted in there. They were just kind of, they weren't stuck where they needed to be. This thing really probably should be shipped in some kind of a wooden crate, or at least a very heavy cardboard box to prevent some of these issues. So now we did get it fixed. I'll give us that. We did get it fixed, and it works great now. There's no vibration. We reduced the vibration probably about 80%. So I'm happy with it. It does what it's supposed to do, but I should not have had to have gone through all that to make it work properly. I mean, for all I know, I probably voided the warranty by doing all of that stuff. I really have no idea. Now, I know a lot of y'all are gonna say, man, you should have shipped that thing back. Something was wrong with it. And yeah, I probably should have. But look at it this way. If I had shipped it back, I would have had to have taken it off of the roof, shipped it back, waited for a new one, and it would have been days and days and a lot of effort. And probably Jet would have sent me a new blower, a new cage for the thing, a new squirrel cage for it. Somebody on the Amazon reviews said they had a very good experience with Jet customer service and the warranty department, and they did a really good job and made everything right. So I could have waited for a new squirrel cage fan as well. That would have probably been okay, but I got it fixed. You know, it's up there and it's working properly, and it saved me a lot of time just to try to go ahead and fix it myself. So if you're looking to get one of these, I would just say buyer beware. Just beware of the possible issues that come with this thing. Maybe look at another brand. If you can get your hands on one of these inside of a store somewhere and possibly plug it in, look at it, touch it, feel it, see how it runs. If it runs properly and you can take it home right then, take it, because I mean, like I said, it does a good job. But if you're trying to purchase one online, I don't know. I would just say be aware that you may not get the greatest unit that they've got. But anyway, I really hated that this review turned out to not be so spectacular, because it is a good unit, but the packaging was bad, the fit and finish is terrible, and I don't know, just buyer beware. I don't want to do a negative video. I try my best to not make negative videos, but I want to be honest with y'all what my experience has been with this unit. So anyway, that's all I've got for this video. I hope this helps somebody if y'all are looking for one of these things, and I will see y'all next time.